College football this week on a Sunday night. And hey, if you're watching the NFL right now, well, we appreciate you stopping by. Football still continues and year-round here on Midwest Sports Net and 446. Doug Gann and I are talking about college football. You know, there is a new head coach in the NAI that's been named this week, the 11th head coach. The new one for 2026 that we know of has been announced. We're going to talk a little bit about 5 for 5 and what that means on the Division II level and what it actually doesn't mean just yet on the Division II level. And hey, what exactly is Week 0? We'll hit that and a lot more tonight. So we are excited about tonight's broadcast. But, you know, before we go any farther tonight, Doug, we have a special guest to bring in, as it's been a privilege to get to visit with a lot of coaches as we have gone into the off season here, and we have another one tonight. And Doug, since you guys are wearing similar accoutrements tonight,
man, give me a second. I got to go change real quick. I did not know I was not playing.
Yeah. One of you's going to have to change. This isn't going to work. You can't go out to that dance with the same outfit, guys. Anyway, Coach Ben McLaughlin tonight here on college football this week. Coach, thank you so much for stopping by on a Sunday. I know there's NFL football to watch. Bears and the Rams on right now. And last I saw, I think you said it's headed into the fourth quarter. Is it still 10-all?
That's what I see right here. Look, it's on my living room right here. So I said I'd lost track of time, and when Doug called me, I was like, I'm on. So I went and grabbed a shirt, and I guess I grabbed the wrong one. So
no, you did well. You're representing well. Well, Doug, I want to give Doug an opportunity to share with you a lot tonight, but I wanted to ask you really quickly as we get started, just to get things going. Louisiana Christian, formerly Louisiana College, but the season number 96 in school history in the books now, a 7-3 record to follow a 4-7 record the season before. So your first 2 years at the helm was a pretty solid turnaround. Tell us a little bit about last season.
It was good. I mean, I got the job after Coach Maddox, and then shared the conference championship in 23, and so. That next season being a little bit of a disappointment, and you can attribute to a lot of things. And most likely it's just, anytime you have a change and you've got transition, it took the guys that were there a while. It took us a while to kind of get the systems in place. But I do feel like we kind of were a little bit ahead of schedule. We had a lot of young guys on this year's team that grew up and really came around. And so, a good season, and now we've got to figure out a way to sustain it so we don't ride the roller coaster of good, then 4-7, then back to 8 wins. So we got to find a way to sustain it, but that's what we're here for.
Well, I would ask one other thing then, and I want to let Doug visit with you because I know he is well acquainted with the program, the voice of the Wildcats in football and more. So it's nice to have two of you all on tonight, and I know he'll get to share with you a little more. I want to ask though, when you look at that and you want to make those adjustments, like you said, and you want to keep going forward and not slip back, what do you think was the biggest adjustment then from year 1 to year 2 from your perspective, maybe not as a team, but as a head coach?
Yeah, I think it's the opposite of an adjustment. It's the consistency. We went now a whole year of everything being exactly the same as it was the year prior. And so I think that's, having consistency. My first year, I mean, we changed a lot of things, not because things were wrong there, but when you take over a program, you want things run a specific way, just the processes and everything. And so it takes a while for the guys to get in tune with that. Look, it takes a while for them to buy in and believe into it. And so, that first real off season that we had after going 4-7 and getting and the consistency of it, and it was the first time that we had a calendar year where everything was exactly the same as the previous year. And I think athletes and coaches both thrive on consistency, and so I think that was the foundation. Just the coaching staff being the same, and the schedule and the processes are the same, and it allows them just to show up and play and not have to worry about all the adjustments. So that's what I would say is just in year 2, we were able to keep the thing going and get the consistency that we want to be, and the kids showed up. And at the end of the day, the kids played well and won some games, and so they make us look a lot better.
Coach, A lot of people will jump right into it as well. Just to get folks a little more familiar with you, and I know you don't like talking about it, but there's a banner of Ben McLaughlin hanging underneath the stadium there as folks walk in the entryway there. An All-American from LCU in your time really helped revive that program after it was started back up. What does it mean being a player there, meeting your wife, raising your family, and now full circle being a part of LCU as the head coach?
I'll be honest with you. My biggest fear taking the job is when you have a place, and this place made me. I grew up there. I came there as an 18-year-old boy and graduated from there. And so anytime you take a job at your alum, I worry about you don't want to fail, right? You don't want to screw it up because you don't want this place that has such dear memories of me and my history, and then all of a sudden have a bad taste in your mouth. So I always feel like coaches like me that kind of go back home. To a lot of people, it seems like a no-brainer, but man, it's kind of scary because you just, like I said, you don't want to fail that place because it means more. It's not just a job. And so when I talk to recruits, I tell them it's my dream job. I say there's a lot of coaches that might say that, but very few of them are as invested into a place as I feel like I am into this place. And so it definitely means a lot. It's awesome to be able to have some success there as the head coach. And so, it does. It means a lot to me, the history. And then what I really enjoyed was, I really feel like I'm in a unique position because I'm tied to the old alums. I played with those guys. And so really able to kind of glue the past, the history up to the present. And so it really felt like it kind of healed our program in a lot of ways, just bringing everybody back in and in the flow.
One of the real good things that we've seen, you get the players that are coming in there, but your coaching staff is so in sync as well with Coach Wood on the defensive side of it, Coach Mo along the line, Coach York. You've got some great characters that are there that really just shape this entire thing.
Characters may be the best way to put half of them there. So but you're right. They are great people. And obviously most of them I've had some kind of history with, at least running into. And so, again, familiarity within the staff, when you have a staff that knows each other, trusts each other, and let's be honest, enjoys working with each other. I mean, I want a culture that players and coaches alike actually enjoy walking into the office and being around each other. And so when you can couple good people along with, they're also really good coaches in their own right, plus the camaraderie and the cohesion that we have, it really does. It makes it to where it's fun to come to work and to work with people that are as evolved as they are into this profession. So now, look, in today's transfer portal world, it's the same thing with coaches. It's you hire good people, and let's be honest, as a head coach, it's my job to hire them and help them hit the next step. So at some point, these guys are going to be taking on coordinator roles and maybe even head coaching roles. But so I'm holding on to them as long as I can. But when you hire good coaches, that they're going to end up moving on and doing the things they got to do, but hopefully not for a couple more years. We keep this thing together.
Look, Bryce Perkins got the start at quarterback, I guess, in week 2 or week 1, depending on your zero. But Joey will get into that in a minute as well. But grew up before all of our eyes in there, and really finished off the campaign just so solid as a freshman.
Yeah, Bryce. I mean, look, we came in this year and didn't know where we were going to go with the quarterback position. We signed 3 quarterbacks out of high school, and we brought in 2 transfers because we knew it was going to be an all-out battle, and we did not know going into the first week that week 0 game against McNeese. We did not know who was going to be, and we went into Langston in the second game of the year. Same thing. We flipped the start, but the idea was they were both going to play. And figure out kind of who was got the hot hand, and he just had made some really clutch plays in that. And you're right. I mean, he's a transfer. So, but if you think about it, we had 3 freshmen and 2 redshirt freshmen in there. So none of them were experienced. So they definitely grew up, and he definitely grew up, like you said, before our eyes as we went on. And so it was a lot of fun seeing the maturation of him and what he did and how he grew with the team. And it's been fun this first week in the offseason, seeing him kind of step into this returning quarterback role, and his voice is becoming even bigger and filling that role. So he did a great job for us and led us all year long. And it's nice to know that we've got some, hopefully a few years with him leading us down in the future.
Well, Joey, I'm not going to hog him from you
No,
tonight.
no,
So
that's all right. You know it intimately, so I'm listening and learning as well tonight. Go ahead, Doug. I only have one more question. I'll save that for a little bit.
all right, well let's stay with the players until you lose such a heart and soul of your team in a Jordan Oglesby, but you see NAIA All American and Kylan Polk, who steps up as a freshman coming in the other way. A stable of running backs led by Datelin Cunningham, they're just guys that really are performing at such a high level, and they're younger guys, but like you said, they grow up during the season. What about some of those guys?
Well, yeah, when you look at our two deep, I mean, it's we started, I want to say 15 or 16 of our 22 starters were going to be, redshirt sophomores or younger. And so on paper, definitely it looks like a lot of good things. I mean, I haven't even talked to you, Doug. So you guys, Joey, you're getting kind of inside baseball here. McNeese State came and offered Kylan a full scholarship. So he is now yeah,
Wow.
so he is now a Division I safety. So had a good, but he did it the right way. He's such a humble and great human being, and I tell our guys all the time, I want what's best for them, just like I do my coaches. And so, but that's where college football, I try to tell recruits, it's not like high school. In high school, if you're a freshman behind a sophomore, you're just going to be behind him. In college, there's so many things. Rosters change from semester to semester, whether it's transferring, whether it's, finances change, whether it's life things change. And so I would, on a positive side, we can sit here and look and plan 1 year, 2 year, 3 years out. But let's be honest, it's a year-to-year thing. And when you have success, like we look at this as a success story. We want to go out and have, when recruits are looking at us and say, look at what we're doing. We develop our guys for life, but also to be the best football players. And so it's one of those things that it definitely hurts in the short term, but for him and that young man and getting a full scholarship to go play Division I football and for our program to kind of be, enough respect for us and for people to look at us that way, it's a net positive. It really is. And so, but we've got a lot of guys coming back, and we're in the middle of our recruiting season here with a lot of official visits. So look to replenish a little bit and go from there.
You'll lose a big time kicker this season in Levi Hilborn. What do you look at there to get somebody out there replacing somebody that's been so steady?
Yeah, well, Levi did a great job. I mean, was here for 4 years and really did a great job for us. He was the kicker, but last year he did a lot of the punting as well. We were able to get Preston Baker. So the good thing is we knew Preston's a kicker as well, and so we feel like the baton is getting handed directly to him, who is in our building and is going to be able to kind of do all of it. And so, but we're I think Levi had some really huge kicks in the first half of our season that, we won some really, some one-score games, and in every one of those games he made a field goal. And so he was definitely a high contributor to some of those wins and those one-score games that we were able to win. So definitely tough to replace him, but he had a great career and very proud of him.
There you go. Well, Joey, I'm going to turn it over to you. Don't forget, coming up new next fall, now on Tuesday nights, you'll be able to catch the Ben McLaughlin Show live from Pops in Pineville on Tuesday night. So stay tuned for that coming up.
Absolutely. And hey, Doug, we want to promote all those things right there. And hopefully Coach McLaughlin will stop by and we'll get a chance to visit with him as we preview here on Midwest Sports Net. We'll let you sort things out a little bit, Coach, and thanks for breaking some news tonight, although it's not necessarily, I'm sure, what you want to hear or what you want to break, but still, hey, listen, it's nice to get break news every now and again here on the channel. My question is this. Let's go back to 25 for just a little bit, and the end of the year. I mean, you finished strong. Mm-hmm. You go to Arizona, and, once again, you force a three-way tie, completely just, I mean, the Sooner is up there at the top, throw everything out of kilter. A couple of years ago when Louisiana Christian did that, made it to the playoffs, you would have had to have won by at least 60 or more to have gotten the tiebreaker. But, Coach, you were on pace for that at one point in the game. You whipped OUAZ by 35 points, knocked them from the ranks of the unbeaten, knocked them out of the playoffs, and seriously were on a pace. Looked like, hey, listen, they may just put a 60 spot on them and go from there. 48-13 was the final score. I just wanted to hear about that game, and what a great way to end the season.
It was a great way. Look, football is a funny game. I mean, when you go back and look at Texas Wesleyan, they beat us by 30. And so I don't think they're 30 points better than us. And we're not 30 points better than Ottawa. Football is a weird game. And when the snowball gets rolling with some direction, it picks up steam, and that's the way it goes sometimes. And so, but just, I was glad for our kids to be able to travel. And, we flew the first time we've flown here, I guess probably since in 10 years to school. So just our young guys handling all the things that has to go into traveling and doing all that things, and going to their place where they look at the history of what they do there. They don't lose games there. And so really proud of our guys. And like I said, do I think we're 30 points better than? No, they're a great program and a great team. But for our guys to show up and play well that night was definitely something that that those guys are going to remember, and we're going to remember for a really long time.
Well, I was on that November night. You were 35 points better than they were.
That's true.
And I was listening to Doug's call of the game as I was driving back from a volleyball broadcast. So I'm listening to it, and I'm not kidding. I kept thinking, are they going to do 60? Are they just just going to bow up and do this? So anyway, props to you for a great season, Coach, and thank you again so much for taking time with us to be here tonight on college football this week. And we do look forward to following the Wildcats over the course of the 26th season. And Doug and I were talking about this before. We'll mention it again, but looking to do a Midwest Sports Saturday in Pineville in 2026. That is the plan. So I hope to get a chance to meet you face to face then.
Joey, we really appreciate all you do, and the things you do for NAIA football and NAIA sports in general. And so we're glad that we were able to get Doug along, and then he's bridged us gaps. And so we're trying to shine a lot of light to this part of the country. So we really thank you and for all you do for the kids and the programs, and hopefully we can continue to be a part.
All right, it's a privilege, sir. Thank you very much. And Matt, by the way, in case you didn't see this just a moment ago, Coach, and you had it up there on your TV screen. Matt's spoiler alert: Rams went up by 7 while you guys were talking. So I don't know who you have in that game. And I'll throw this up there really quickly. I don't know if anyone has a dog in this hunt. My team played last night and absolutely put the whip on the 49ers. So I don't know. Who do you think is going to come out of this one or not? But, Coach, I guess, do you have a favorite on either side, AFC, NFC, or are you cheering for anyone tonight?
I mean, I feel like Matthew Stafford is my age. I remember we were literally the same age. So I'm for all the old guys out there that still think they can do it, I'm pulling for Matt out there, and hopefully he can come and do it. And so been exciting. He's been statistically the best quarterback in the league this year. And so really cool seeing them put that season together. So hopefully you won't hate me too much if rooting against your Seahawks.
That'll be all right. Doug, anything else?
Yeah, I do. On that, the Broncos coach are looking for a quarterback. So there's still a little time to get up there.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's been a trend bringing guys back, but no, my shoulder couldn't throw it about 20 yards. I'm definitely going to enjoy that one on the couch here. So I appreciate that, Doug. Thanks for the vouch.
Absolutely, Coach. I know you had some good recruiting weekends, and look forward to catching up with that this week. We'll be by to see you guys early in the week.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Again, appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Have a good night. We'll let him go. And man, what a great visit. Doug, you know some good folks.
I'm telling you, he would. We could talk football with Coach Ben, and we have for hours and hours. And we just put our deal together to do the Ben McLaughlin show on Tuesday nights from a local eatery there in Pineville. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Hey, before we leave LC, and we'll throw a few other things out there, how about this schedule? They already have 11 games on the schedule. There is a true Week 0 game, and again, we'll get to that a little bit later on. But, man, Doug, that's quite a road.
Look, it is. They take away Hardin Simmons this year that they had, and they replace them with Southern, and then Fort Lauderdale they had as well. That's gone away. They're replacing the Week 0 game before, which was this year against McNeese. So that's gone. And speaking of McNeese, that was that Week 0. Number 21 up in the top corner is who he was talking about in Kylan Polk that is going off to D1 McNeese now. Led all categories of football with 11 INTs.
Man, and he had 4 against OUAZ in that that game we were just alluding to a little bit earlier, just flat out talking about a little bit earlier. That
Pick 6 in that one.
You know, Doug, I'll leave it up there just a little bit longer. It's a tough Sooner Athletic Conference schedule anyway, and I think there are a number of teams, including Louisiana Christian, which, you know, the year following, you know, in Coach McLaughlin's first year, new coach, you know, there's going to be some shift. There's going to be some change. Obviously, improvements last year. Wayland Baptist is getting better, and I keep saying don't sleep on this team because they just get better every single year under Coach Hinojos. And then, of course, OUAZ, Texas Wesleyan in there, Langston. Still waiting to see who the new coach at Langston is. But then you take out a Fort Lauderdale, and you replace it with a D1 school. I mean, that's a challenging schedule, but I think it's a better schedule.
It definitely is, and they get, because the NAIA doesn't look at Division I losses. If there's a loss like that, you know, to a Southern, which now has Marshall Falk as their head coach, Trey Holly, who is a leading rusher in Louisiana history, transferred from LSU to Southern. But they also pick up ETBU. If you look at that October 3rd game, that's the one that's the battle for the border claw right up in that Tyler area. And so there's always a great battle for recruits between Texas and Louisiana right there, and they battle for the border claw. And it sits in Pineville right now, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, that's over in Marshall.
East Texas Baptist, that's right.
That's over in Marshall. It's in, and the pine trees have already started there, just so you know. That's one I've actually broadcast a game there.
We've done one back when LC.
There.
Beautiful facilities.
Oh, it is. And it's one of those one-side stadiums, too, if you recall that, too. And interestingly enough, faces west. Why? I have no idea. But that's some of those Texas stadiums are like that. But anyway, all right. Matt, really quickly, Matt saying the Rams force a turnover on downs inside the 5. So this could be looking at a 1 versus 5 matchup. We'll see how that plays out in the NFC Championship game. But, of course, yeah, I appreciate Robert recognizing the Seahawks. I know we've talked about that before, Robert, but, yeah, they're my team. So have been for a long time. You got to go back to Steve Largent. And that's why.
And Zorn and those guys, yeah.
And Zorn, yeah. The one true Kurt Warner. I'm just kidding. The original Kurt Warner. How about that? The original Kurt Warner. The St. Louis Rams quarterback, Kurt Warner, he's a pretty solid guy, too. At least seems that way.
I see where so Robert says he's coming into Louisiana. There you go. Where are you going into?
As a matter of fact, he said looks like he's coming there by LCU, so not bad.
Well, I live right there by LCU, so you're going to be close.
just drive on over. All right. Well, hey, listen. All right, let's talk about a couple other things here while we have everyone around Alexandria. While we have everyone around here, head coach, new head coach. This is number 11, Doug. There are 14 new. There will be at least 14 new head coaches that we know right now in the NAIA patrolling the sidelines. The 11th spot was filled, and that is going to be Rocky Mountain. Now, Coach Stutstream went to Bismarck State, and that program is set to be, it's going to be renewed with its first season coming back in 2027. So not this season, it'll be 2027. The Frontier Conference will have 15 teams then. As of right now, they'll have 15 teams. Who knows? We don't know what's going to happen. There may be more by then. I feel weird saying that, Doug, because I literally don't know anything, but I also I don't know. That's just a feeling. That's just one of those gut things to go, I think they want to see 16.
And look, you're starting to see so much popularity in these things too, in these big conferences wanting to get bigger and wanting to get better, and that flows right into it. And an odd number is just, I think we'll see a 16. I don't know that we'll see it this year. Do you think there's an opportunity this year?
I mean, no, obviously not in 26. 27,
right.
I do think there's a possibility, because if something comes up, you get another one of those California schools that says, hey, we'd like to start this program, and you find out about it, and they can be started pretty quickly. I mean, Grandview, things got going quickly. Some
Well,
of those
that's a good
places,
blueprint to
and,
follow.
boy, absolutely it is. Anyway, Rocky Mountain's head coach. I left off there. Randy Bandelo was the defensive coordinator the last 4 years at Carroll College, and he was there for 7. He was linebackers and special teams coach the 3 years prior to that. Well, now, if you're going to learn something, of course, under Coach Purcell recently, but wow, to get to coach at Carroll College, I mean, they are definitely the team of the 21st century in NAI football royalty with those 6 national championships, 4 of them in a row. That's a great place to go, and so I think he's going to be ready and well familiar with that Montana area.
Yeah, and that's what you see is the familiarity. I couldn't think of a better person, and I went back and I tried to look through there. I couldn't think of a better person to take over that Rocky Mountain job either. He's man, it's I look for big things out of that league just to get better and better.
Rocky Mountain had a decent season last season under Coach Stutstream, and late in the season still playing with the opportunity for meaningful games in the month of November. So there's still folks around there. And as Coach McLaughlin just said too, it's I always say, well, there's still a lot of production there. Man, it's year to year anymore, Doug. It's tough to know who's going to be coming back. I don't want to be cheering for Laundry, but we're kind of there now, and I don't want to. Anyway, that's a gripe for another time. I'll try and hold off on that. But anyway.
Well,
so, Tool Envy stepping in tonight. Tool Envy, man, you missed Coach McLaughlin. You need to go back and watch that. Louisiana Christian's head coach was on with us tonight, so we're glad you're here with us, though, right now.
And you
So
missed that Robert is coming to my hometown because Alexandria and Pineville are just right across the river, and I'm about 3 miles from LCU, but I do, Robert, live in Alexandria, so there you go.
All right, more NAI. Let's. I'm going to mention coaches here really quickly. And it's not that now. This is flag football, and I realize that we don't always talk about flag football here. We have had some flag football coaches on my channel, Doug, and I don't know if you have or not, but it's a sport now that is a championship sport in the NAI and in the NCAA. The convention was this week up in Indianapolis, and they have said that flag football is now an emerging sport. So it's kind of one of that transition phase between championship sport and whatever. They did say stunt and acrobatics and tumbling. Those are going to go ahead and be championship sports now. And Division II has bowling now as a championship sport. But flag football in the NCAA, an emerging sport. Now, USM, St. Mary, Elle Campbell, who played for the Spires for 3 seasons and a 2-time captain, has been named the head coach of their flag football team. Also, Doug, she's a GA for the football team at St. Mary as well, too. St. Mary having a new coach coming into 2026 on the football side, on the standard 11-man football side. Hastings flag football coach DeAndre Robinson for the Hastings Broncos in the GPAC inaugural season there. Coach Robinson spent 5.5 years as head coach for high school flag football in Georgia. And then Indiana Wesleyan, their inaugural season for flag football coming up. Travis Combs will be the head football coach there. He was a high school flag football coach in Florida for 6 years. And Doug, I mentioned those two. It's inaugural seasons, not this spring, but coming up. They'll be the first head coach for the program. Flag football is pretty big on the high school level in the southeast part of the country, and specifically in Florida, there are a lot of high school flag football teams.
And they're just getting it in Louisiana too, in the LHSAA. So it'll be going on next season. They'll start doing that. The team started forming and getting together, and I think it's great. I think it's great.
Yeah, it is interesting, and I like it. And let me ask this in the chat too, because I know, well, Robert's in Oklahoma for sure, but I know there may be some folks and some of you all tonight. And by the way, if you have not already, if you're watching us live, go ahead and jump on in the chat. Let us know you're here and maybe from where you're watching tonight, or which NAI football team or flag football team that you might be cheering for in 2026. But I'd love to hear from some of you others. In Oklahoma, flag football is not a thing. Is it in Louisiana?
Look, it's just getting going, and so we don't know if it's a thing or not. None of the colleges have it. It'll just be on the high school level. So we'll see.
All right. Robert, my son got actual recruiting from a school for flag. Well, all right. I think listen, I'm happy. If you're happy, I'm happy where he is. I'm looking forward to seeing Concordia and seeing him out there next year. So that'll be cool. Well, we mentioned some coaches while we were at Indiana Wesleyan. Interestingly enough, Indiana Wesleyan just dropped this week news. This news this week, Doug. Let me slow down and speak properly. Indiana Wesleyan has signed a 7-figure deal with the Urban Edge Network, which the Urban Edge Network broadcasts and has been working with a number of conferences in the NAI to sponsor like championships and things like that, and games of the week, some other games as well. But the Urban Edge Network is going to be broadcasting all of the Indiana Wesleyan games. And another thing, which, by the way, let me stop there and let you talk about that. Any thoughts on that? A 7-figure deal. Wow.
I find that difficult because and maybe it's a sign of things that are going on in the NAIA, and that's not a knock on the NAIA at all. But that seems like some big time money to put out for that. Who knows? I would almost think you'd work into it, but I just think that's staggering, and I think that sets a bar for other teams to come in and get a piece of the pie as well.
It is absolutely setting a precedent. The other thing about it too that I found interesting is and again, this is neither positive nor negative. This is an observation. Okay. So I guess I need a graphic that just says this is an observation. So I want to make sure that's there. They're going to be wearing patches. They're going to start in the spring, and in the spring, some of the Indiana Wesleyan sports are going to be wearing patches because the UEN is in its 5th year now, and there's a number 5 with the UEN logo, and they're going to have it on their outfits. So are we going NASCAR?
Look,
where we're going to be able to just advertise on our outfits.
And you start to see some of those, and I don't think it's any different than, you take the Nike logo on some of these shirts, or you take some of those other just on the uniforms that are on there. But let me put this out to any of these schools. 446 Sports is open to a 7-figure deal as well. We'll do all of your games. No, I'm sorry, Coach Ben, but we'll go do that also.
All right. Now, this is interesting. Tool Envy has something to say about this. Wish someone would come to the rescue for some of these schools. And you know what, Doug? Money's involved. We actually just got through talking with Coach Ben about that he said, hey, there's going to be money involved in scholarship, and at least from the standpoint of a scholarship. But Tool Envy saying some of these games resemble the coverage of my junior high games. I think 446 is, hey, listen, Tool Envy, if Doug ever comes up to broadcast a game where you are, I know it's going to be good. I've been watching some of these broadcasts lately, and they look good. Doug,
well, thank you.
You look good. It's looking good. Good broadcast. So I think that's really pretty cool. All right. I just wanted to drop that.
Look, we're starting to do a game of the week. We hired a couple of people this weekend, and so we're expanding out throughout the state as well. And football next year, high school wise, because the bulk of the games we cover are high school. We'll do a game of the week, but look for some enhancements. Don't quite have the drone or the blimp or any of those things, that sky cam there, but our LC coverage will be improving as well. And heck, that October 31st bye week, if there's a school that needs us, we'll hit the road and go over there and do a guest stream for you too. So,
all right, Doug is looking for a place to go on his bye week. He is looking for a place to go, so keep that in mind. Okay, Doug, here's one news, and I know this is interesting. So all you NAI football fans out there, because we're doing a lot of NAI talk tonight on college football this weekend, and mainly that's what we do is NAI coverage. Former Benedictine Raven, who spent his final year of eligibility, and I made sure I got this name right, Doug, Chim Okaruffer. And I got that from the great Tom Couts, who is the play-by-play guy for the Benedictine Ravens, long-time play-by-play man for the Ravens. Chim Okaruffer spent his 1 year at Benedictine. He was taken first overall in the UFL draft, and he's a tackle, an offensive tackle. That is big. It's big time that an NAI player is taken first overall. He was an offensive tackle. That's huge. The Dallas Renegades take him first overall. So thoughts on that, Doug?
Teams are smart to do that. And if you go back I don't like to, I don't like to talk about that team that plays in North Texas. But if you'll remember their big games, their big seasons that they had 30, 40, 50 years ago, they built it around that offensive line to let Emmitt Smith get open and get going. They had a big line when Dorsett was there. And that's the motto. Go after that big tackle, protect that block side, and start the line. Joe Burrow would have been so much more successful if Cincinnati would have quit getting receivers and worked more on that offensive line. So I think that's a blueprint to success, is going with a big guy on the line.
Tool Envy. Okay, yeah. You know what? He was a center at Benedictine. He was a center at Benedictine. You're exactly right about that. And I think he started every single game that season he was there. Had a great career, but he's listed as a tackle right now.
Yep.
So they may have moved him over. And he did spend it. I checked on this too. He spent a little bit of time with Minnesota in the NFL. So anyway, but yeah, you're exactly right. He was a center there in his time at Benedictine. So there we are. All right. Just want to throw that out there because I thought that was good news. I think that represents well. And you know, I thought, Doug, that Gerald Monroe would be the next NAIA person taken in the draft. I mean, for the first person taken since Coach Jasper. And we're going to overtime, by the way, in the NFL, just in case you're paying attention. Thanks, Robert, for that. 17-all between the Rams and the Bears. And
look, I'm catching the stream here on my phone.
Okay.
And I've got a Bears fan, and he just said, season's over, how terrible, this is bad. And then the next one I get, you can imagine what it said.
But I thought Gerald Monroe would be that person, and he still may, because the NFL draft is not for another 2 or 3 months. His season last year was not, I think, what he wanted or what anyone at Graceland wanted. And so I think that may take away just a little bit. Hopefully not. Hopefully he'll still get his name announced when the NFL draft comes around in April.
Look, you think that college has gotten so crazy with the portal and with guys, and guys are older now when they're leaving. And if you have that the fifth year in there and the guys are just getting older and older, it's just a battle to get drafted and to get on an NFL roster.
Yeah, it really is. And you saw the comment. I threw that one up there from Tool Envy, and he had a chance to watch because, of course, they were in the Hart Conference with Grandview, so get a chance to see them play. I never saw a full game. I saw a lot of highlights, and, of course, the numbers were just huge. And the thing about it was, and I can't attest to the mentality of it, but there were, injuries along the way, and then there were a couple of times where he had to sit. So it was there were just challenges for him to overcome. But I'd be interested to see if his name is called when April's NFL draft rolls around. All right, Doug, there are a couple things I want to get into tonight before, and I realize we're just into the second half hour right now, so I don't want to go, hey, listen, the NFL game's going into overtime, but there are a couple things we need to mention that have taken place this week. The NCAA convention. And I realize we're talking NAI football here, but everything has a trickle-down effect.
Correct.
And so you just know that when something's going on somewhere, it has an effect elsewhere. Division II was set to vote on the 5 years of eligibility. So you would have 5 years to play 5 seasons. 5 years of eligibility, you have to do it done in 5 years or 10 semesters or 15 quarters or whatever it is that your school does. And so it got by committee, so it's going to be voted on, they said, on Friday. Wednesday rolls around and, oh, wait, you know what? Let's just hold back on this a little bit. We're going to send it to the committee to vote to push this back, and we don't want to vote on it now. We think we need to think about this for a little bit longer. Let's set this up to vote in 2028. So, Division II is kicking the can down the road. I thought they were going to set a precedent, and it seems as though they're not. Now, I'm not saying that I am for this move, Doug. I'm just saying this is what's happened. So here we are right now. We've kicked the can down the road from this perspective, at least of the voting. Now, there's more to talk about here, but I want to give you a chance to say something.
I think I wonder if Big Brother got in the way of it and didn't want it. When I say Big Brother, I didn't mean that Division I level.
Yeah.
Saying, look, we've got our playoffs going on. We've got all of this going on. Don't let that be the big statement. You need to worry about that at another time. Of course, the timing falls when it falls. But I believe it's a setup. I don't see that. I don't see them voting on it even next year as it comes around either. But hopefully I'm wrong. Maybe they just wanted to analyze it because you've got some deep thoughts on it.
I actually do, and everything you said there has something that I want to talk about. So let's talk about this. Number one, Big Brother needs to mind their own business, his own business, because his playoff championship tomorrow night, January 19th. Really? You can't get this done a little bit earlier? Come on.
Right.
We're in the middle of, it's not the Super Bowl. This has gone on too long. You've got issues enough with your transfer portal. You've got issues enough with NIL, and you're playing a championship game past my birthday? Come on. So Big Brother needs to stay out of that. But they haven't done it entirely. And here's something else that took place. Not this week, but it happened in the month of January. It was back in the AFCA convention. Now, the AFCA convention, a little bit earlier in the month, the FCS coaches said, hey, we vote. And it was a unanimous vote, Doug. I went back and checked this more than once. Unanimous vote for the FBS, anyway, Division I. Voted unanimously for a 9-game redshirt period instead of the current 4-game model. Okay, Doug, let me put everything out on the line. Division I has said if we go to a 5 seasons of eligibility thing, we're not going to do it now. They've already kicked the can down the road. They said it's not going to happen right now. If you give a 9-game redshirt opportunity to say players can play in 9 games and still decide to redshirt, you're giving them a 5th year of eligibility. Now, hang on, before everyone, gets all wound up. This was voted on at the AFCA. The AFCA is not the NCAA, and it does not hold weight. Okay? So the NCAA did not say this is going to happen. Just to be clear, nobody clip this and say that it's going to happen. But all the coaches voted unanimously for it to happen. The NCAA could make a decision, I think, in April on something like that. I'm not sure. But yes, that's exactly what it is. It is, in essence, a 5-season thing if that happens. That's crazy.
You get into so many different scenarios with this thing too, and it's stepping around what it already is. If you're going to do it, and then you get guys getting a 6th and a 7th year, is that going to go away, and you're only going to just have the 5? But if you're giving somebody 9 games instead of the 4, it just further solidifies that I don't think the left hand and the right hand or the right foot knows what they're doing, and it's a tragedy.
No, it really is. Now, again, is this the NAI? The NAI is voting on things. They are voting on things in April. We can talk about that again in a moment. But, Doug, you said a lot, and I was trying to hit all of the points that you were mentioning there in just that one statement, and that's one of them. It is, in essence, a 5th season. And to your point, no, it doesn't stop the 6th and 7th years. That's what the 5 for 5 would do. I'm still not telling you I'm for the 5 for 5, by the way. But that's what the 5 for 5 would have done to put a stop to say, no more paperwork, no more dragging this out. We're going to go ahead and go, bam, this is it. You have 5 years, get it done, 5 seasons, we're over, we're done. As it is now, you have still the red shirt rules are in place. And don't forget, there's always medical red shirts too. No, it's not changing.
Look, I just and who knows what they're going to come out of this with. I think what's happening is, and still, somebody that picks the committee like they do and they butcher the playoffs, a whole other story. We've got to get somebody in these things that have some sense, that looks at all of these. You know, it reminds me of somebody that goes out and says, hey, we're going to go do this. And then, oh, wait a minute, let's get back and think about it a little bit about the intangibles of it too. Whatever happened to sitting back, figuring something out, and then saying, okay, now we're going to do this? And that's just lost in this instant microwave era. Everybody wants to just jump up and I mean, it reminds me, people that take things out of the microwave with 3 seconds to go and don't let it go all the way. So there's in that big of a hurry to get something out.
That's sorry, that's a great analogy. Oh man, that's funny. All right. Now I'm just going to let everything play out in my microwave. That's really going to change the way I do some of my microwaving when I
you got to get to the ding, baby. You got to let it go.
Okay.
Thank you, Robert.
We leave seconds on our microwave more often than I care to speak about for this particular conversation. So that's there. All right. Let me see. Let me throw this one up here. Tool Envy, for the 5 for 5. I'm a believer that the COVID exception really messed with a lot of good kids that were still in high school during that time. Okay, I'm not sure. Okay, you're for the 5 for 5, but the COVID exception messed with a lot of good kids. See, that's the thing. Aren't those two different sides? Now, help me, Tool Envy, because I'm not following. I think those are two different arguments there, because and I may have an opportunity this week to have a coach on who will take it from the other side. I'll just go ahead and give my shameless self-promotion for Midwest Sportsnet, Doug, right now, and I'll give you a chance at the end to give your shameless self-promotion for 446 for this week. This week should be, in theory, we have a basketball player, we have a football coach, and possibly a volleyball coach. That's what this week on Midwest Sportsnet looks like for our interviews. And the coach, that's one of the things I want to get his opinion on, because I think I already know what it is. Aren't those two different arguments, Tool Envy? 4 or 5 for 5, or that 5 for 5 could be harmful because you're leaving some of these high school kids behind. There aren't going to be enough scholarships to go around, I don't think. So help me with that one. Give me another comment.
And that's part of what you and I have talked about, Joey, as well. I mean, they're not expanding these limits. So what happens when a guy that's a senior comes back in and for another year of it, and these rosters in colleges, like, I don't have room for there? What it's doing is it's pushing all these kids to the JUCO route, which is fine. But when they took away that the eligibility counted against the kids, now you've made just a minor leagues for things like that. So when you bring in the 5 for 5 and you already have the JUCO where that doesn't count for you any, it hurts a school like an NAI school on there, because now maybe some of these guys will just say, well, I'm going to go the JUCO route instead of going here.
Okay. Tool Envy says hard 5. The 5 for 5, just straight across. Hard 5. That settles. It can, but I think this is, okay, Joey's opinion, labeled as such, and I think it goes along. Doug, I think you may be with me on this one, but I think you lose some enrollment. And I think that there are schools that really don't need to lose enrollment. I mean, we've lost some NAI schools in the last 5 to 10 years. Last 5 years. I mean, Siena Heights. Trinity Christian, by the way, which had a good athletic program up there in that CACC, the Chicagoland area. Trinity Christian and the Trinity International, both of them, they are no more. Neither one of them had football, but athletic department, it's gone. And I think that would hurt some of these schools that enrollment could be an issue. So, all right, Robert, and he likes the redshirt year because his son needed to grow up a little bit. And you know, I'm not saying mature. Well, maybe he did need to mature a little bit, but I mean, he needed to grow up because he was undersized. So he's a little bit bigger now too. So that, you like the red shirt.
But here's
you're still getting the red shirt rule.
Here's what's happening on a lot of those guys too, and that's things that it's real prevalent in Louisiana. Kids are graduating at 19. They're in 5th grade. When you've got these big successful programs, and I'm certain it happens all around the country, I'm just not sure of it. But in Louisiana, these schools, these kids are graduating at 18 and 19 years because they redshirt back in the 5th grade.
Okay, I was going. How many kids are graduating at 19? But I understand what you're saying. They're giving them another opportunity to grow up so they can play some high school ball, whatever ball it is, right?
Well,
And
it
letting
is,
them
and
be,
it's strictly for athletics. And you got to think, a college doesn't care how old you are when you come in there. If you're 17, 18, they would rather you be 19 when you come in there. But if you look historically at championship teams, those big 300+ pound linemen that are just grown men, I guarantee you they're not 17.
yeah, no, that, well, unless it's Ryan Williams for the University of Alabama, and we found out and heard on every single broadcast last year that he was 17 years old. Did you know that, Doug? That Ryan Williams
I did
was
not.
17? Did you watch an Alabama broadcast and hear 17 times per broadcast that he was 17 years old?
I don't listen to Alabama broadcasts. Yeah, that's gets that away.
Hey,
But
you know that. Hey, I'm a Vols fan too, so I get it. I don't.
Check the comment by Robert right there, and that'll tell you if you look at the most recent one. It says that they were pressured to hold their son back for athletic purposes, and it wasn't the focus. And I'm telling you, in Northeast Louisiana, in a lot of these places, it's the main focus, and that's what you do, because for they always have been held back, and that's just kids are graduating.
Yeah. Well, and now again, Tool Envy, I'm not saying I'm right on this yet. I'm saying kind of where I'm leaning with my thought process on this. I just know this. Here's where we can at least get to this point. Let me make sure We've stayed on this for a while, and I think it
Yes.
warrants conversation, by the way. I really do. So thank you guys for being a part of the Sunday night broadcast. We're really glad that you're here on that. But we know, this is what we know. D2 is not doing it right now.
Right.
It's been tabled until 2028. Oh, this is a point too, Doug. It was the SAAC, I think, that was instrumental in getting this done. It was the students themselves, the Student Athletic Advisory Committee or Council, whichever one that C stands for. I think they were instrumental in getting that taken care of to push it down the road to 2028. They're going to look at this a little bit longer. Now, we do know that. However, I think this may be something that's on the docket for the NAI in April. So we'll try to keep you up to speed on news on that. But the NAI votes on some things in April, so that may be on there too. Anyway, shout out to Colton Howard, my favorite current Southeastern quarterback. Thanks for being on and watching tonight. Appreciate him watching. 5 for 5 was kicked down the road, and then we talked about the 9-game redshirt period, which again, let me say again, the NCAA has not said this is a thing. It was voted on unanimously by coaches at the AFCA convention, but it is not a rule that has been changed. However, one of the rules that was looked at as well, this is something about week 0, Doug. I need to get to week 0, and Mrs. Midwest Sportsnet says I should be cautious sometimes, but I'm not being cautious tonight. Week 0 doesn't happen every year for every team.
Correct.
Okay? The rules in the NCAA, and Doug, you're close to my age, and so some of the guys in the chat are close to my age. That's well, you grew up. I grew up. Let me just give you Joey lore, okay? We had a family reunion Labor Day weekend every year. We are the McWilliamses and the McEwens. That's a lot of Scottish names, no doubt. But we had a family reunion every year. It was at Lake Texoma because we're right here on the Red River. And it was Labor Day weekend. So it was the Saturday before Labor Day that we had it. And we had a place reserved out there on the lake. We got to go 70s, 80s. Man, I grew up going to Lake Texoma, and we'd talk about college football because we knew after we were done, we're going to go watch college football because that's when week 1 was.
Yep.
It was traditionally the weekend starting Labor Day weekend. The NFL traditionally at that time started on Labor Day weekend too. So, me and some of my cousins who were big football fans, and we'd talk about it, and then we'd go watch football, and it was fun. We had a great time. Now, that's traditionally. However, let me say there is actually a rule in the NCAA book that says, and it's in Rule 17, I think it's .11.4, check it out, but Rule 17 says, and I quote, "An institution shall not play its first game or scrimmage with outside competition in football prior to the Thursday preceding Labor Day." So that was what week 1 has always been. This is Division I, but the NAI uses the NCAA rule book, okay? So there have been exceptions that have been made over the year. Now, the NAI does have competition that takes place prior to the weekend, the Thursday preceding Labor Day. But in Division I, they just started doing this, Doug, about 10 years ago. They started as what they called the Hawaii rule because schools would go play out in Hawaii. But because of travel and everything else, they'd let them go and use that extra week, if you will. Then they started sending teams to Ireland to play.
Yep.
Which we see that every year as well, too. This past season, the week before week 1, in the NCAA Division I, there were 5 games, only 5 games, that took place in what they called week 0. Labor Day last year was September 1st. So the weekend before, all the August to 28th Thursday games and August 30th Saturday games that were played in the NAI were not week 0 games. They were week 1. I just want to clarify that because week 0 is thrown around a lot of times, and I don't think people understand exactly what week 0 is. So we're just going over that here as a small tutorial on college football this week. Now, Labor Day this week, or this year, Doug, in 2026 is going to be Monday, September 7th. There are already games that are set up in August. That will truly be a week 0 this year. And here on College Football This Week, we're going to talk about games in week 0 because we already know one of them. Oh, man, who is it?
If you pull that schedule.
Yeah.
Pull that schedule
well,
back
pull
up.
that. We know 2 of them for sure then because one of them I know right now is Louisiana Christian, and they're going to be playing
Northwestern State on a Thursday
Northwestern
night.
State. It's a D1 school.
Yep.
Northwestern College from Orange City is also playing a Division I school. I believe it's Western Illinois. That will be in August. That's going to be a week 0 game. There will be week 0 games in the NAI this year, but I just wanted to clarify that because sometimes people talk about week 0 when they mean week 1, and just so you know what's going on, that's it. But wanted to bring that back out there. So now why is that important? Because FCS coaches were also wanting to vote on some things, Doug, and allow for more quote-unquote week 0 games to push it back. Why? So they could get their playoffs done more quickly. If you have a little bit more room to work with in August, then the season doesn't end in like the middle of January. And maybe Division I should look into this a little bit more too, so that there's another week to work with so that you're not playing your national championship game on January 19th. Have I ranted enough tonight?
Look, I think that soapbox is in great stead. But the absolute goal of all of this for those folks with the big blue dot and all of this is how can we get more tickets sold? How can we get more parking sold? How can we get more money?
Yep.
Period.
You're right. It's about the money. It is about the money. And I think I cut our audience in half tonight with my rants tonight, Doug. I'm sorry. I watched
look, there's
dwindle,
been more activity than I've seen. So that's great.
Yeah. All right. I appreciate that, Robert. Sometimes the soapbox comes out. I have it. It's one of those little cartoons. It's in my back pocket, and I pull it out, and it just expands right there in front of me on a regular basis.
I don't know if anybody else notices this, but Joey, you were never like this when you were 54.
Well, that last year, Doug, was recovery. So I'm feeling much better now, and got through all of that. I got through all that recovery year, so we're back and we're in full on rant mode now. And so Tool Envy likes it, Robert likes it. We're all good. We'll go from there. Doug, I think that was the last thing, just so everyone knows what week 0 is and what it isn't. So we do know going in. All right, last question, and we'll wrap up tonight because we're hitting that hour mark. And I don't know if we're going to stay here. Stafford might pull this one out, so that may make Coach Ben happy. Miami and Indiana, college football. Hey, there's a national championship game tomorrow night, Doug. Did you know that?
Which came first, the national championship or Groundhog Day? That's what that's what we're watching.
It was starting to be a tie.
This has gone on for a long time. Somewhere the Energizer Bunny is doing his thing, but I like Indiana. I like Signetti, but Indiana on their roster has a young man from Alexandria Senior High School right here at home, and Jamari Monette will be playing for a national title. So it doesn't matter who they're playing in there. All of Central Louisiana is rooting for Indiana and the Hoosiers in this one.
Okay, I remember not liking Miami when I was an OU fan in the 80s, and not really I don't know if I've gotten over that or not, but I've enjoyed the Indiana story, and I've enjoyed watching them play. And the grandkids, Rams win. Field goal incoming, and Rams win. So is it 2017? Is that a final? Do we know that one? 20-17, I'm guessing. It'd have to be if it were a field goal. I just, Mrs. Midwest Sportsnet and I were watching the game with the grandkids last week, and, you know, they just they took Alabama apart, and then last week they dismantled Oregon. I just don't know that they can do that again, because I think Miami's a lot bigger and tougher on both sides of the ball on the line than what Oregon showed, and really what Alabama showed either. I do think Indiana's going to win the game, but I just don't see it being the same blowout. I could be wrong. But yeah, I would take Indiana in this one, and I'm actually cheering for Indiana in this one too.
The Big Red Barn. Take the Hoosiers. That's normally goes over my head right there.
Yeah.
So.
Robert, it is Indiana, the most complete team I've seen in a long time. That's Robert's opinion on that. Listen, you can't take away from it. And the way that Mendoza has played, and just the completions, more touchdowns than incompletions in back-to-back games. There's some quarterbacks that can't throw that accurate with nobody defending them.
Yep.
And he's just doing it. And by the way, the receivers catch the ball too. So
it's such a great story. They got so much momentum, but games aren't played on great stories. But I think they're as talented group as you'll find this season. We'll see what happens to them, but nothing matters except that big one tomorrow night. And not only do we want Indiana to win, we think that they do.
Yeah. Okay. That's our stand here officially on college football this week. We have two little IU logos that would pop up on the screen if we had a producer. But
right.
But
we don't.
There we are. That's all right. All right. Doug, really quickly then, I've already said I think we will have at least 2, if not 3, Summit videos on here on the channel this week, and we will go from there. And I do want to get a shout out to the members too, because I will get in touch with you guys this week as well. Doug, what's it look like on 446 Sports?
We are in the middle of our high school softball previews and our Red River Athletic Conference softball previews. We jump into softball mode as we wind down basketball season here, and we're on interview 26 of about 100 that we'll do. We've got softball season lasts for 57 days, and right now we're booked for about 70 games, and that counts tournaments and all of that. But we're set to broadcast 70 high school softball games in 57 days around the state of Louisiana, and let's go.
Man, that is a lot of fun. Absolutely a lot of fun. Well, I'm excited for you, Doug. I'm going to follow along. Matt is betting the barn on IU. Going there, and Robert hopefully gets a chance to run into Doug while he's in the neighborhood. I've had a chance to visit Robert a couple of times personally. Last time was in Fort Worth. Man, we got to hang out for a little bit of that first quarter there, so I was glad to get to see
Robert.
you
If you're in town and have some spare time, find me and we'll grab lunch, my friend. There's no doubt about it.
Well, we look forward to all of that. Doug, man, it's been a great night, sir. Thank you very much for being on, and I'm enjoying this more and more every week. We'll be back next Sunday night. Lots more to talk about, I'm sure. Who knows? We'll have some more news, maybe a new head coach again.
Will Langston finally get him a coach?
3, you know what? Langston, Eastern Oregon, and who else is it? I have this up here. Langston, Eastern Oregon, somebody else without a head coach.
How does that affect National Signing Day coming up February the 4th?
I don't know. Oh, Campbellsville, because Jake Russell went over there to Southeastern. That's a good question. Yep. Signing Day's coming up. That's a big deal too. I know we'll be talking about that over the next couple of weeks as well. So
next Sunday on college football this week. If you don't have a coach, how are you recruiting?
Absolutely. All right, keep that in mind. Lots more on the way. Robert, thank you for watching tonight. Matt, Tool Envy, thank you for watching tonight. Colton was on the show as well. Coach Ben McLaughlin, can't say enough about him coming on a Sunday night. It was a privilege to get to see him tonight as well and visit with him. So we'll have another coach on next week. We'll have a lot more to talk about. I will see you guys later. For Doug Gann, I am Joey McWilliams. Thank you for watching. Yes, Doug?
Claws up.
Claws up. Thank you for watching college football this week. We will see you later.